People, especially now with the foreign intervention, do believe this is a conspiracy, and the mistake the international community is doing now is that it's rallying people together now, because now they have a clear enemy. Before, it's your brother. Now it's not your brother anymore. Now it's the West doing the same dirty business it did in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Somalia. What we want to do is to keep Libya one country, to keep Libya safe. We never wanted to harm civilians. We never did. This is not a peaceful protest for political change. These are armed gangs, nothing more. And you saw the cities were liberated, like Zawiya, like Zwara, like Zintan, like Masrata. We didn't have a civilian revolution fighting us and saying, no, don't take these guys away. We took these cities back. I mean, these are signs. As a journalist, you need to think about them. We took Zawiya back. What happened? Zawiya is calm and everything is nice in Zawiya.
Tonight, did you see the pictures from Benghazi when the crowds went wild?
So what? A few thousand standing in the steps, 6,000. How many? 10,000? We believe Benghazi, a city of 1.5 million people, is hostage. Because if we have 500 people in this very hall here, one person with one gun can have all of us follow him just because we are scared of that gun.
Moussa, it is still in Libya's power to stop this escalating. Why cannot that not happen?
Listen, these are armed gangs that took our cities hostages. We proved this because we liberated many cities. Not a single city came out in protests. The journalists went there. Not a single city felt sorry for these gangs being defeated. This happened in Zawiya, Swara, Zintan. It's happening now in Masrata. I mean, this is a sign for you guys, a sign. If this was a truly popular revolution, how could we easily defeat them from these big cities? We're talking about Zawiya. Zawiya is the third biggest city of Libya. If they had any popular support, where are their supporters? But for the camera, of course, 10,000 people, they look nice, they look beautiful, especially when they cheer in 1 second together. They do not represent the people. We know our people in Benghazi. We know the tribes there. We talk to them. My sister is in Benghazi. She's been there for 40 years. My sister has 16 children. And her children, they have their own children. Me, myself, I have something like 100 and something of very close family there. We know the people of Benghazi are terrified. Once we are there, I promise you this, and this is for history. You are recording this, yeah? I promise you, when we are there, you will not see the 10,000. You will see the hundreds of thousands coming out in the streets celebrating. You will see that. It happened in the Zawiya. It's going to happen very soon in Masrata, which is now being liberated and cleansed. It happened in Tripoli here, when we got things secure and safe, so people felt good to come out. Because our people are civilians. They cannot come out and face these guys with the weapons. They can't.
And it will still happen in Benghazi?
In Benghazi, we are relying, on not just the army attack. We're relying on people coming out and helping us. We liberated the Zawiya with very few deaths. Basically, the people who died are those with arms. Maybe there are some victims. I don't know. We need to check that because, of course, this is a fighting in the streets. There is a possibility. We liberated Masrata without much damage. We liberated Zintan without much damage. Tripoli, have you seen any massacres in Tripoli? Tripoli is the capital of this country. Have you seen massacres? People died, of course, and we're very, very sad and angry because of this. But we are not the ones who did this. These people never, and I needed to think about this. Look at Egypt. Look at Tunisia. People went out on the streets. They sang. They had music, guitars. They danced on the streets. They sat in their millions until the government was embarrassed into running away. These people never sat down, never sang. Give me one song, give me one video on the internet which they posted, in which they sing. All of their videos, they are burning things up, they're damaging things, they're killing, they're holding up their arms, their weapons. Why are you feeling sorry for these guys? We are fighting an armed gang. Why are they more legitimate than us? We are the government. Yes, we believe, and I'm 36, by the way, I'm youngish, and the generations of my age and younger, they all want change. They all want Libya to be better. They all want things to happen, in the housing, in salaries, transport, education, health, and some political changes, a written constitution, freedom of the press, opening up, transparency, all of these things. But we want to do that peacefully within the unity of Libya, without foreign intervention and without killing each other. Libya is a tribal society. If the government, the central world collapses, do you think these people will just implement democracy. Never. There are tribes and whole populations completely integrated into the system. They will fight each other. We will have a civil war like Somalia. I mean, you had a civil war in Iraq. Iraq is much more civilized society than Libya, much more established, much more organized than Libya, and it collapsed. It collapsed. Let alone Libya. We are closer to Somalia, as an example, than to Iraq. We will have a civil war. Somalia has a civil war for what now? 19 years? 18 years? Almost. So we will have a civil war in Libya. People will die. What makes me so angry and bitter is that there are people and countries that are prepared to see Libya suffer for a few years because they think the result might be good. Why should we suffer in the first place? I mean, Europe took its time to develop. The States took its time to develop. Centuries. I mean, in the States, they had the civil war to free the slaves in 1861. Until 1961, they were still not liberated. 100 years later. So why do people want violence to take place in order to change things in Libya? Why is that? We need, you see the whole of Libya, from the Tunisian border to Jdabia, to the south of Libya. Libya is like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times as big as Britain. What is the popular revolution? Where is it? Why is it just in the places in which the armed rebels have weapons? Because they are scaring people into not saying anything. So please ask the hard questions. Libya will have a bloody civil war. People think this is a threat. It's not a threat. It's a stating of a fact. There's a difference. We want Libya to be better in every way, but we want to do it peacefully, with the unity of Libya, without fighting, without foreign intervention. Everyone who gives up arms, who surrenders, we will be completely forgiven, and we will sit and talk.
But you use terms like cleanse, and the leader speaks of going even wardrobe to wardrobe and house to house to find...
Well, 2 things. First of all, we do believe that there are elements, hardcore, who want chaos and disaster in Libya. These people will never surrender. We know we have to find them to the last moment. The second group, unfortunately, those who are misled, misguided, and some of them, just they don't want to wake up for some reason. Some of them have the tribal, background, or they're very young, or they're stupid. Many of them are criminals, released from prisons. So we have to understand, we are dividing, we're thinking, this is the hardcore elements, this is the misguided people, but we think the majority. And we did succeed. Look at the Zawiya. They started with like 1,000. They ended up being 100 fighting us at the end. Why? Where did the 900 go? Did you see 900 graves in Zawiya? They either escaped, they gave up their arms, or they came and said sorry. Where are they? We couldn't have killed 5,000. Where are they? Where are the graves? Where are their bodies? I mean, we're not that good, We're not that good. We are not that good. Because all of them gave up or escaped, and we were left with 100, the hardcore, which we fought and defeated. We would not deny that, because they refused tribal intervention, social intervention, legal intervention. They refused. So we have to fight them. These people had tanks, not just Kalashnikovs. They had tanks in the middle of a civilian city. So the West and the world has gone mad, The same thing happened in Zwara, the same thing happened in Misrata, the same thing happened in Zintan, and now, look at Jdabia now. Now we have Jdabia under complete control. Now it's the process of cleansing, as we call it, because we're trying to get people to have the hardcore ones to escape, to go away. And we told them, we will always leave escape route for you. Okay, we have Jdabia and Kudu. Have you heard about massacres in Jdabia? How did we capture Jdabia? It's a very important city before Benghazi. It's the most important gate to Benghazi. Where are the massacres in Jdabia? Where are the bodies lying in the streets?
Where are the independent journalists to verify that?
You will go, well, people, by the way, Jdabia is, I don't know about the population of Jdabia. I don't know about the population, but it's a huge place. People phone each other, people talk. I mean, have you heard of any massacres? Have you heard of people in Jdabia saying that, come, there are bodies everywhere? And yes, of course, some journalists went yesterday to the gates of Jdabia. They did not enter Jdabia. People cannot hide massacres that happened 20 years ago, okay? You can't hide a massacre that happened a day ago, or 2 or 3 or 4. These people have families. They have families. Not just in Libya, not families. They have tribes. You can't bribe, 100,000 people, a tribe, into not telling that their son was killed. You will go to Jdabia and you will find that there are people who were killed. But you will not find a massacre. you will not find that these people are civilians. You'll find that they actually held up arms against the government, and you'll find that every option was given to them to surrender, and they refused.